Android 12, wireless Apple CarPlay, keep your steering wheel controls, and it's all plug and play. This stereo is all you ever need. Eonon just came out with a brand new Android 12 head unit, and thankfully they still make it for my generation of the Mazda 3. This one specifically is the 2004 to the 2009. Today we're going to be unboxing, installing, and reviewing it inside the car and seeing how much better it is than the Android 10 unit. The links to buy this head unit are also going to be in the link description below. I'm also going to be comparing a few specs. As someone that's had my car for 6 years and I've always wanted an Eonon unit, I'm so thankful for Eonon for sending this out. Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be one of the first people to test this out and review it. And my car definitely deserves an Eonon. I am not kidding when it comes to Eonon stuff. If you want everything in this bundle, plug and play, you want to keep your, for example, we have Bose audio. If you want to keep your Bose, you want to keep your steering wheel controls, and you want so much other stuff, you really just got to go with this. There's no other option better than Eonon. This is the M3BKA12S. There are two models specifically for the Mazda 3 for the Android 12, and this is that higher version. There's much more packed into this as performance. We'll take a look at that in a little bit. You're greeted with a user manual at the top. Let's go ahead and get to the goodies. Here is the actual head unit. Here is all the wiring and accessories you need. There does look like there's a lot, but it's actually not that bad. And this is all plug and play. No cutting, no nothing. As you can see, it's an in-dash design. So you literally just go plop, and it goes right inside the car. These, I've watched Eonon change these up so many times throughout the years. The designs and how modern they've become to this day is incredible. It's really cool to see them making something like this for such an older car. It is very slim down the side, so a lot of room for the wiring in the back. You have all your plugs and everything and all your accessories that you need. Really nice construction, and it's good to see that there's a lot of quality in this. And I'm going to show you everything all for wiring that we have. Here we have a 4G antenna, a few mounting tabs, another 4G antenna. We have, I believe, what are speaker outputs. We have a USB plug. We have a dual USB plug. Here we have the GPS. This will be the microphone for your Bluetooth. And here we have the main harness. Now, like I said, I know this looks like a mess, but once you're in the actual car, everything is labeled on where it needs to go, which is super, super nice. Backup camera input. Very easy to see. Done this on a second generation Mazda 3 before, and it was really, really easy. It's well worth the time. This is the first time we're actually seeing an OLED screen instead of the IPS panel that they normally use on their head units. It's also powered by an Octa-Core CPU, 6 gigabytes of RAM, which is incredible for an Android unit, and you're also getting 64 gigabytes of storage. That's a lot of storage. You can go ahead and compare this unit and the unit below this one on the Eonon website to see what the difference is for you. But if you guys are looking for something quick, snappy, and easy to use, I think this one's going to be calling for you. You're also going to see technology like wireless Android and Apple CarPlay. Very user-friendly UI. And like I said, all those ports on the wiring harness for backup camera and everything else that you might need. But without further ado, let's go ahead and install this in the car. So here we're inside the car. We're going to be taking out this old aftermarket head unit that I have in here. This is the way I take this out is going to be the exact same as it would be with an OEM head unit. You start by taking the glove box down, and you're going to want to pull on this upper trim. This upper trim just pulls right out. 2 screws at the top of the radio. And keep these ones safe. Go ahead and give the radio a good yank. Now I'm just going to start unplugging everything. Like your radio plug, the main harness needs to come out, and there will also be another plug right here. You might also have that screen up here. You can also retain that when we put in the Eonon. So as you can see, if we just kind of plopped it in there just to take a look, it looks good. It's big, it's huge, it looks really good. You guys want to take your mounting brackets, because we need to mount these to the back so that we can screw in the Eonon so it doesn't fall out. The brackets do say left and right on them. There's little mounting tabs on these as well, and when you put them up to it, this is how they should be mounted. Like I said, these tabs also allow it so that you can put the old screen back on top. I'm going to go ahead and screw these in. 2 little screw holes. Make sure they're nice and tight in there. So both sides of the brackets have been mounted. So when you go ahead and put it in, you have 2 tabs at the top now, which will hold those screws in, hold the radio in place. There's going to be a few things I'm not going to be installing today. Like my 4G bars and my GPS aren't necessary to me, so I won't be installing those. But if you do want those, your two 4G plugs are right here, along with your GPS plug right here. You just pop these little red covers off, you go ahead and you twist them on there and install them. This Eonon head unit also has a microphone on the head unit itself, but they also supply an external microphone in case you want it closer to you and better sound quality. In that situation, this would be plugged into the microphone plug on your wiring harness. So if you find that you guys are basically bare bones and you won't be installing too much like a backup camera or anything else, you can basically start by plugging this right into the main harness. Now we have everything laid out at this point, we can start plugging everything in here. In the situation that you guys want wired Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, you have the USB plugs that you can use, and they just have little plugs that you can plug into the back of the radio. Our first plug that we see here is going to go into our main outlet, and then as we go further down, we can take this plug, stick it into the farthest right. If you want to do a backup camera or anything, here's your backup camera plug, as well as this plug. We're going to plug this in. This one's going to be the one to the farthest left. We also have another plug here we're going to plug in. This one's going to be the one in the exact middle. The last step to your wiring is the antenna, and the port is just here on the far left side. And now that we've gone ahead and plugged in everything that we basically need for what I'm using this for, we go ahead and put it in the car and test it out. Go ahead and just slide this in like the old one. That looks so good in there. Take those two screws and put it back where they belong. Slide the trim back in. Our Eonon head unit is fully installed and looking gorgeous. So the big first test that we have for this is startup time. They claim that this is a 1 second startup time from when the key is clicked on. So let's put that to the test. 3, 2, 1, go. And it's proven. That was probably one of the quickest startup times I've ever seen on a car. That was instant, snappy, and you're pretty much ready to go. So here is your home screen of the Eonon Android 12 unit. Everyone's going to be using this unit differently, whether it's for the Apple CarPlay, the Android Auto features, or maybe you are a very Android heavy user and you like to play games or watch YouTube videos in your car. That's totally up to you. We're going to be running through some of the quick features of this unit and seeing, how it's used and useful. Expecting with that 6 GB of RAM and that Octa-Core CPU, this thing's going to be blazing fast in the menus. So let's start with a swipe. Quick, snappy, and engaging. So as you see, we have our home screen. We go ahead, you can see some of the apps that we have here. Obviously you have things like Bluetooth. You have all your files. Like you said, you have 64 GB of storage in this thing. You have an Android Auto app here. You have your CarPlay app here, which we'll get into in a second. You got a calculator. You have your EQ, which we'll go through in a second. Google, Chrome, which we'll go through. You have a front cam. You have your Gmail, Google, Maps, all this stuff. Netflix is already on there. If you guys want Netflix, you can go ahead. You can change the UI, so the set launcher, whatever you feel like. I feel like this kind of looks like the previous one that they had, but I really like this clean design, even though I'll be spending most of my time on Apple CarPlay. You can set this up with the OBD2 support if you guys have something like that. Obviously you have your YouTube and the Play Store, so I'm sure you can download games. Like this is basically like an iPad or anything like that. You can also do mirroring, which is really neat. Let's go and hop into the settings and see what we can change in here. You can set up your network and internet with Wi-Fi and hotspot. Set up your connected devices, which we're actually going to go ahead and do right now. Here you can enable and disable Android Auto. There's also an LED setting. So what's really cool, if I go ahead and turn on my lights, it actually turns it into dark mode. But there's also lights that show up here on the left. This is new. These used to only be white on the old unit. Now you can actually change these to colors. So in my situation, we can do rainbow. Hey, that's actually pretty cool. Okay. In this situation, I want to kind of do a purple. So I don't know. I'm not smart enough for this. How do you do purple? What colors do you mix for purple? Oh, we're getting there. Oh, that's cool. You have the navigation settings, voice assistant settings, driving settings, watching video while driving. I'm not going to tell you guys if you can do that or not. Extra settings, brightness modes. You can change the volume when you're reversing if you have a backup camera, which is really cool. You can change your notifications if you want. Change the font size, display size, brightness level, night display. Change your wallpapers. There's just so much in here that you could play around with. It's crazy. So now that we're done in the settings here, I want to go take a look at our EQ. You have a 15 EQ setting that you can customize here to your liking, which is really nice to really dial in your kind of music. You also have more settings here to do with loudness and just your sub in general. You can also change it so that it plays more to the back, the front, or to the sides. So very nice in depth for audio, especially if you have the Bose and stuff. I think this is gonna be really nice. If you're connected to Wi-Fi, you can do really neat things like hop on YouTube. You can watch your favorite content creators. This is so nice with the QLED. So colorful. The colors are very accurate, especially with the HD screen as well. This looks awesome. Now this is gonna be handy if you installed your GPS module that came with the Eonon, but like I said, I use Apple CarPlay maps 110% of the time, so this is not necessary for me, but this is a really nice interface if you guys want to use this. So you have your radio here, very easy to use. You'll have a music tab, video tab as well. So like I said, whether or not you're going to be using, you know, the Android 12 portion of this interface, or if you're going to be using the Apple CarPlay interface, that's totally up to you. It's very snappy to load. I'm really stoked on that, considering that the old unit that I just took out of here was really slow, had a lot of connectivity issues as well. Now I think with the Apple CarPlay, like I said, these aren't so fast. Let's see, let's test that out. Going between menus, it's really quick. It's responsive to my swipes. It's really quick. It stays with my finger, which is really good to see. Even when it comes to searching something, everything's just really quick, and it doesn't lack or lag like I've experienced before, which is really good. Now we're gonna leave the Apple CarPlay on when we shut the car down, because I wanna see if it loads up when I turn the car back on. We're gonna see what the loading time is for the Apple CarPlay. Let's go ahead and turn it on. As you can see, quick startup, and it immediately basically tells the unit that it needs Apple CarPlay. Now we're just gonna wait a few seconds here for it to connect to the phone, and there you go. Ready to go, quick and easy. Your car hasn't even warmed up yet. That's how quick this unit is. Like I was saying at the beginning of the video, it retains your steering wheel controls. So if I go ahead and press the volume button, I got my steering wheel controls back. I haven't had steering wheel controls in this car with my radios for I couldn't tell you how long. Well, with that being said, that's basically all we have for the Eonon install. That's the full review, install, and unboxing of this unit. And I have to say, I am so excited to use this thing. I mean, just look how good this looks inside this car. It just totally makes this whole center, like, it's huge. It's massive. The HD to it is just gorgeous. It looks so good. Thank you so much for watching today's video. If you guys enjoyed the Eonon review, make sure to put the comments down below. If you guys have any Eonon, let me know. Let me know how you guys like them. I'm so excited to finally rock one of these in that car. It is long, well deserved for that car. And maybe that'll be finally the last radio to ever be put in that car. I've had so many different ones in that car. Make sure to hit that subscribe button, leave a like on the video. Other than that, keep it real. I'll see y'all in the next one.